Hello guys, welcome to my new video, and today we'll be looking at Mistweaver Monks in raid situations. We'll be looking at the Upwelling build, the Fistweaving build, we'll be looking at the corruption builds that are emerging, and basically I've been testing my Mistweaver in Mythic raids. I've been testing my Mistweaver in Mythic Plus and things like that, and this is going to be a general guide covering some of the gameplay mechanics with Upwelling, and we'll look at the corruption builds that are becoming really popular. So first of all, let's go and have a look at my Mistweaver Monk in terms of raid and the raid gear that I was using, and this is used by a lot of Mistweavers at this given point, and that is severe stacking. So we're looking at Mistweaver stacking a whole lot of crit. Mistweaver in a lot of ways is very similar to Resto Shaman in terms of what corruptions are good for them in raids in Mythic Plus, with some exceptions, and I'll talk about that. So first of all, severe and crit stacking has been really popular. I have 3 severes, I could use a bit more. I have strike through, I have flash of insight. Flash of insight is still very strong. This axe is, in a lot of ways, is quite biz for Mythic Plus and raids. It gives you a lot of intellect, and if you can pick up Justicar's axe, do so. It's one of the best corruptions right now still. And then you have your severes. I have deadly momentum that I'd left over from the previous days as well, which kind of works with my severe as well. So generally speaking, crit. It becomes really easy to possibly even reach or get close to the 100% crit cap. So you have Swirling Sands, which I'm using right now. I have Brightborn Infusion, which I'm using right now. I have Conch Trinket, and with your Secret Infusion Azeroth trait, which is very strong by a lot and used by a lot of Mistweavers, all of a sudden you'll probably use your Thunder Focus Tea into Enveloping Mist. By using this, you're going to get a decent amount of crit based on how much Secret Infusion traits you have. So if you go and have a look at some of the logs for Mistweavers, first of all, don't be down on yourself if you can't get or top healing meters or whatever, if you're looking for logs or if you're doing progression. Mistweavers right now in raid situations are relatively poor in terms of HPS performance. You can have a look at the HPS charts right now. Mistweaver is the bottom at 75%. So if you're playing a Mistweaver in a decent way, it's going to be hard to you to topple over Holy Paladin or Holy Priest. Now this is Mythic, and every raid and situation is going to be different, and I'm not saying that Mistweaver is not viable. I'm just saying that if you're looking to get logs, it's going to be a lot harder to beat other healers. But if you look at the most popular builds right now happening, and this is my Justicar kill, I gotten a couple of logs when I was practicing or when I was doing a practice run with my Mistweaver. It was still relatively fun, but generally speaking, if you look, let's say, my Justicar kill, and this is relevant to a lot of Mistweavers out there. If you look at some of the healing breakdown, you start noticing that, hey, my Essence Font, the crit uptime or crit was around 80%. My Vivify crit at 87% of the time. Now, Revival crit should have been 100%, because with my gear, I should only be using Revival after I use my Thunder Focus Tea into Enveloping Mist, because that's going to give me a huge crit bonus, and I'm going to be possibly capped. I possibly should be capped at around 100% crit, and then I use Revival, and Revival will heal for a lot. But it happened that during that fight that people lost HP to some extent randomly, and I didn't have my Thunder Focus Tea available at that time, so I had to press Revival without Thunder Focus Tea Enveloping Mist, so that's why it's only 81%. It should be 100% with my gear though. So generally speaking, I was getting around 80% crit, passive crit throughout the whole fight, because of my Swirling Sand, Brightborn Infusion, my Conch, and things like that proccing, and because I was using Thunder Focus Tea into Enveloping Mist because of Secret Infusion giving me crit. So basically, I'm running around 80% crit. So I still feel this kind of severe stacking is still going to be the meta for raids. It's still going to be one of the best ways of doing it. Keep in mind that I foresee that Strike Through is going to gain a lot of value at this point. I'm looking to get at least one Strike Through rank 3 when it's going to come around soon, because Strike Through is basically going to mean you're going to heal for more, or your crits are going to heal for more or deal more damage. So if I'm running with 80% passive crit in a raid situation, Strike Through is going to gain a lot of value. So I'm going to be experimenting in the next couple of weeks with severes and Strike Through stacking. Now, should you use Thunder Focus Tea into Enveloping Mist when you use Secret Infusion to get that extra crit? A lot of the logs, a lot of the other Mistweavers, they're doing the same thing I'm doing, which is using it into Enveloping Mist to get more crit. Because you have to remember, the way that severe and stat amps work, the more of that stat you have, the better it becomes. But crit has a hard cap of 100%. So you have to keep that in mind. But generally speaking, I feel that is the way to go. But if you're running into mana issues, tossing or using Thunder Focus Tea into BfA because it's gonna make your BfA free is kind of a no-brainer if you're running into mana issues, and you probably will be because Mistweavers have a lot of mana issues, considering that this is probably your most popular essence build right now, with Memory of Lucid Dream being the go-to for majority of the fights, Formless Void being still very, very strong, ERT for that extra mana, Intellect proc, and Conflict and Strife. Now, if you don't have Conflict and Strife, it's definitely worth testing out Vision of Perfection. Again, I need to get a rank 3 of this, but Vision of Perfection, I still feel has a place. Because with Vision of Perfection, minor, you would major to some extent, but minor majority of the time. And on top of the fact that majority of Mistweavers will be running Uplifted Spirits, because at least one Uplifted Spirit is going to be very, very strong. This is going to cause your Vivifies, or if your Vivifies are going to crit, again, if you're running an extreme severe build, Vivify is going to crit majority of the time. Those Vivify crits are going to reduce the cooldown of your Revival. So if you're running Vision of Perfection, your Revival cooldown is going to be reduced by a lot. And all of a sudden, in certain fights, you might be able to squeeze in an additional Revival. And if you use your Revival in the way that you're supposed to, Thunder Focus Tea, Enveloping Mist, Revival, with the severe stacking, Revival should have a 100% crit chance, meaning you're gonna do a crap ton of healing. And I feel you can do this essence build, but this is what I feel is going to be strong for Mistweaver in raid situations. Now let's go to a far more complicated Mistweaver Fistweaving build in Mythic Plus. And my gear for Mythic Plus is it's not optimized in any shape or form. This is not optimized in any shape or form because, quite frankly, Rising Mist build is the go-to for Mythic Plus. This build right here, to some extent, you can look at this, Rising Mist is the go-to for Mythic Plus. For raids, the far more popular build is Upwelling, because it's just, frankly, quite easy, or much easier to optimize and do well with. So in raids, a lot of the people will be running Upwelling, and in Mythic Plus, a majority of people will be running Rising Mist. Now with Rising Mist, the stat priority for Mistweavers is relatively equal. You have your crit, you have your haste, you have your mastery, your versatility, and they're relatively equal. With Upwelling build in raid situations, you'll start to notice that the stat priority is way, way different. If you're running Upwelling build, you'll start to see that crit is the king with versatility, but you choose to go severe or crit stacking because it's far easier to get more crit than versatility. Remember, Nex, Cloaks, they don't have versatility. Then you probably have mastery, and then you have haste. Haste being quite poor for Mistweavers in raids, where a lot of the times Mistweavers are going to be avoiding any piece of gear with haste when you're running Upwelling build in raids. This changes when you start going into your Rising Mist build into Mythic Plus. All of a sudden haste gains a lot more in value because, quite frankly, you can drink between the pulls and things like that. So all of a sudden, sometimes haste... Okay, so take this with a big pinch of salt if you're watching this video. There is no mandatory set of corruptions for Fistweaver in Mythic Plus. It's all over the place at this given point. There really isn't one set that's gonna be like, hey, I gotta go this build in order to do Mythic Plus as Fistweaver. It's all over the place. I've seen Mistweaver stacking Expedient. That means haste. I've seen Mistweaver stacking Expedient. I've seen Mistweaver stacking Versatility. Generally speaking, crit stacking is really not that popular. There's far more Mistweavers or Fistweavers in Mythic Plus that are stacking Versatility or haste. So you might see a mixture of expedients and things like that. The general consensus of Mistweaver or Fistweaver in Mythic Plus right now is going DPS route. So TD, Twilight Devastation, is still extremely popular. Just like Holy Paladin is still sticking with TD. Resto Druid might be stepping away from Twilight Devastation because it's relatively awkward. But Mistweaver and Holy Paladin is still going with the TD route. Twilight Devastation is still extremely popular for those healers because they're melee healers. Besides that, if you don't have a TD or if you have like 485 item level pieces, Gushing Wounds is also very, very popular. So if you're a Mistweaver, Fistweaver, you have 400 or 485 item level pieces, they're prime candidates for your gushing wounds. And a lot of Mistweavers might just go like TD gushing wounds, and then they fill in the blank spots with things like versatility or expedient stacking. So haste. That's probably the most common build right now, but it's wild west. There is so many different variations. There is no one must do build. Go DPS if you can. TD gushing wounds are very strong for Mistweaver at this point. A lot of them are using it. After that, if you want to go like versatility build, if you want to go expedient build, if you want to have a mixture of those, you can go. But generally speaking, I didn't want to confuse you any more than this. I just wanted to mention that crit stacking severe in raids for Mistweaver is very popular. People are using their, Seek Infusion, they're using the Thunder Focus Tea into Enveloping Mist to get more crit. They're running at like 80-90% passive crit with all the procs and things like that. And all of a sudden, your Vivify trait to uplift the spirits and things like that, reducing revivals, more revivals, maybe Vision of Perfection Minor in certain raids and things like that on certain bosses. But in Mythic Plus, Rising Mist is the king. And Rising Mist build is far harder to determine what's going to be the best. A lot of people are running kind of a mixture of everything, or maybe they're stacking haste or versatility, or just going pure DPS. There are Mistweavers who are just going pure DPS with Twilight Devastation and Gushing Wounds. So it all depends basically of what Mistweaver you are, what key you're going to be doing. Stat priority for Mythic Plus is a lot different than it is for raids, especially if you're running the Upwelling build and things like that. So I definitely advise you to have multiple different gear sets, multiple different corruption sets, if you're trying to optimize your Mistweaver in Mythic Plus and raid situations. And I hope this video has helped you out in some ways. Mistweaver is still an extremely strong Mythic Plus healer, still strong PvP healer if that's what you're into. But in raid situations, I feel Mistweaver right now, in terms of pure HPS, in terms of progression, utility that they provide, is relatively weak. I'm not going to sugarcoat this in any way. Mistweaver is one of the weakest healers right now in raids, but I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more changes happening to Mistweaver in Shadowlands in order to give them more utility, maybe in order to make certain stats scale better, especially Mastery. Mastery not interacting with all of the abilities is kind of a meme in my opinion, but we'll see how Shadowlands is going to treat Mistweaver. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you found new builds for Mistweaver in Mythic Plus, if something's working for you and things like that. Let me know, leave a comment below and I'll try and read all of them. Thank you guys for watching this video and I'll see you in my next guide.